So today's session will focus on the sources of finance, that is, how a business acquires the funds to run the business. There are two sources of finance the sources of finance can be categorized under the two sources, that is the debt and the equity. So these are the different ways that companies or maybe the businesses, they raise money for their operation, for conducting the day-to-day business, for investment or any other financial requirement which are needed conduct the uh, to conduct the operations, day-to-day operations of any business. So the project's characteristics, the entity's financial standing, and the terms and condition of all the sources of each sources will influence the choice of funding, because it depends upon the what kind of business we are going to start. Is it a small scale, medium scale, or large scale? Is it your maybe perishable items, or is it for capital goods? Is it for consumer durables, or is it for daily use item? That depends upon that what nature of business one is going to start, or maybe what is the capital or maybe the requirement of any business for that time period, or for established some businesses, they require, for example, manufacturing business, they require huge capital initially, whereas if we go for the trading business, then they initially they do not need lots of money to be invested. So many things that uh, decide the requirement for the fund. So we have it depends upon what nature of business and what size of business, those elements decide the requirement for fund. But what are the various sources of fund? It is, the entity's unique demands and circumstances, they decide or determine the financing resources. That is, maybe a diverse and well-balanced capital structure is frequently, produced by combining the funding from a number of sources. Usually, the sources of funds are broadly two, as already said, that is the debt and the equity. So first we talk about the equity. What is equity? A company, they raise money. They may raise money through the equity financing by giving investors some stock share. Here, I would also say that maybe giving them a part of ownership, a portion of the ownership. These investors, they receive equity or a portion of the company's ownership in return for their financial contribution. So they become part owners. So they have the right in the voting. They have the participation in the management of the business. So businesses, particularly startups and expanding enterprises, they frequently use equity financing as the means of obtaining capital without incurring any debts. The key elements of the equity financing are, maybe these are some important elements that are presented here. First is the common stock. Common stock is also referred as ordinary share or equity, which gives shareholders the opportunity to participate in the voting, that is, maybe opportunity to vote and participate in the management. So it is a claim to the company's earnings and also the residual asset and ownership in the business. So we can say that these shareholders, they get the power not only to participate in the management uh, and have the voting right, but they also have the power to share the earning as well as the residual assets. That is, at the time of the closure of the business, they get their share from whatever assets have been remaining after the closure of the business. So, although preferred and bond holders have the priority over the common stocks, Actually, first let us, before discussing this point, let us understand that who are the preferred shares. And there are two kinds of shares, that is the equity shareholders and the preference shareholders. At the time of distribution of the profits, it is the equity shareholders who get preference at the time of distribution of the profits. It is the preference shareholders, sorry, it is the preference shareholders who get the preference at the time of distribution of the profits. But they do not have the say in the management. They don't have the voting right. Whereas equity shareholders, they get the portion of the profits or their share of the profits after the profits are distributed to the preference shareholders and others, similar shareholdings. Then comes the whatever is left out, that is distributed, the remaining residual profit is distributed to the equity shareholders. So we say that although these preferred and bondholders, they have priority over the common stockholders, in the case of liquidation, common stockholders are also nonetheless regarded as the company's real owner. Because they actually, no doubt, they are not getting preference in the profits distribution, but whatever is remaining, whatever is management part, wherever they have the voting right, it is the equity shareholders who have the real power, or maybe we can say the real ownership. So shareholders who own common stock, they have the ability to vote at shareholder meeting, and they are represented as the owners of the company. So there is a wide spectrum of investors, including the private citizens, institutional investors, and other companies, which are usually they are given the common stock, and dividends are possible for owners of the common stock, but the board of directors of the firm, they may decide to pay them out or not. So next we have the preferable stock. A form of stock known as preferred stock has particular rights over the common stock, including the preference for liquidation and dividend payments. Often preferred stock actually is only distributed to a particular investors. For example, maybe the angel or venture capitalist. And before common stockholders, these preferred stockholders are paid the fixed dividends which have been already promised to them, and they are entitled to a larger portion of the company's asset in the event of the liquidation. So this is how they enjoy the preference over the common stockholder. Then next is the venture finance. Venture capital businesses, they offer high growth and startup enterprise, a form of private equity financing which is known as the venture capital. In return for a stock, venture capital firms, they make investments and they frequently actively steer the expansion of the company. So usually venture capitalists, they have an exit strategy in mind, which could involve selling their interest in the firms through an IPO or purchases. Uh, then we have the venture finance can be, next we have the private venture capital. Investing in the private businesses or acquiring the public enterprises to turn them private are good examples of private equity. Institutional investors' money is combined by private equity firms to purchase or invest in any business. So, private equity firms, they frequently take an active role in the administration and day-to-day activities of the businesses they invest. Next is IPO, that is initial public offerings. A private firm, under this, what happens actually, a private firm, they can go public by first releasing the shares to the general public through an initial public offers, that is what we call the initial public offerings. So On the stock market, these shares are available for purchase by general public as well as for sale by current shareholders. And by going public, actually, a firm can raise money from the general public and give the liquidity to its current owners. So, we can enhance the cash base or the liquidity base to its current owners. Then coming to the angel financiers. Angel financer is also another type of equity financing. It is high net worth individual high net worth individuals or angel investors. They contribute their own money to startups and small enterprises. In addition to money, angel investors also may offer the advices and experiences from the others who are more mature, or maybe they are others who are established beforehand. So, angel investors, they usually acquire an ownership stake in the company in return for their investment in that business. That portion of ownership for the amount for which they have invested. Then next kind of equity financing is your crowdfunding, that is usually conducted via internet platform or social platforms, where crowd funds entail the collection of a modest sum of money from a large number of individuals. So people donate money in return for benefits, in return for goods or stocks. So through crowdfunding, companies, they can reach a very wide range of investors. They can get a good catch of people who are willing to invest small quantities of money in their businesses. Next, we have the employees' stock ownership plans. Through the purchase of shares, employees can acquire ownership stake in the companies through an employees' stock ownership plans. That is, over time, employees acquire the beneficial ownership of the company's stock, and employees' motivation and retention can be achieved with the help of the ESOPs. So, we can see that the benefit of equity financing. So, these were all items list that describe the equity financing, whether it is in the form of common stock or preferable stock, or maybe the venture finance or angel financiers, or maybe initial public offerings, crowdfunding, or maybe ESOPs, whatever kind or whatever method of financing it is whoever invests the money in whatever way, he or she gets the ownership of the portion of the money it invests. And also at the same time, they in return take the share of the profits which are earned by those businesses. The benefits of equity financing, it includes, it involves what is the if we just check on that, what advantages does the business have when they go for equity financing. No doubt they are getting the money and their ownership is being distributed or divided into a large number of people, or maybe a small number of people, as this case may be. But they get the money which is the business's own capital, and they can avoid the debt and the possibility of financial appreciation for investors. Actually, this the owner money, when you get the money through equity financing, it is better because the owners, they have their own vested interest to earn profit sharing from the business. Therefore, one can avoid raising capital through the debts. It does, however, but entail ceding from some ownership and management of the business. The objective, financial standing, and risk tolerance of the company all influences the decision between the debt and equity fund, obviously. Because equity financing has its own advantages, whereas the debt financing has its own. So first let us understand what the debt financing is, and then we will compare that which one will be better for whom. So, another way to raise the fund is through the debt financing, which simply means borrowing the money. There is no clause of ownership involved in this. So, debt financing as opposed to equity financing, it is the issuance of debt instruments such as maybe bonds or loans or debentures with certain commitment to repay back the principal amount after or over a certain period of time, along with the interest which is predetermined for a period of time. The rate of interest is already decided. Whereas, in equity financing, there is no time period which is defined to repay the fund. All the equity holders or the equity financiers, if they do not want to continue with their investments, they can withdraw from the business by maybe selling it to somebody else who is interested. So this is the difference between debt and equity financing. And in equity financing, the ownership shares are sold to others in the market. So there is no time span period. It depends upon the wish of the equity investors till to remain in the business till whenever, whatever time they want to remain. So some of the key elements as put here of the debt financing are bank loans. That is, bank loans, maybe that is you are asking money, you are taking a loan from the bank, or maybe any other financial institutions which are maybe specifically designed for your business. They are functioning specifically for the nature of industry you are standing in. So it is the source of the loan amount, interest rate, and the repayment plan, and any other collateral security which is needed. They all are included in the terms and conditions of the bank loan. The companies have to pay back these loan over a defined length of time, maybe with a given amount of installments, etc. Those things have to be abided by, followed by the business who is taking that amount of loan. So, and this is one of the simplest of all debt financing, that is going to the bank and then taking the loan. But it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Next, we have the corporate bonds. That is, businesses, they sell their bonds to the investors in order to raise the money. So, bondholders who buy these bondholders are the people who purchase these bonds. In order to, they receive the principal repayment upon the maturity, along with the periodic interest payment. That is, for example, if that bond is for 3 years, then after 3 years they are going to get back their money. Interest, it will depending upon the terms and condition which have been uh, which have been agreed upon between the two parties at the time of purchase of the bond. So if it is given on periodical basis, maybe after every 6 months, after every 5th month, whatever it is, or maybe at the time of maturity of the bond, then the interest is paid, then it is done on that day. So depending upon the bond's terms and conditions, the interest rate can also be fixed or variable. That is, maybe fixed or variable means fixed rate is when one rate is, suppose it says that it will be paying 6% or 8% on regular basis every 6 monthly, or maybe at the time of maturity, then that is given accordingly. The flexible basis is that when it depends upon it is left on the market condition. As in when there will be a fluctuation in the market, or whatever the market rate of interest will be, it will be followed by those bonds. Then that is the flexible rate of or variable rate of interest. So this way the bondholders, they invest in the business by through debt financing. Next is the convertible bonds. These are the bonds which are taken up with the intention to convert them. They are convertible into equity after certain period of time, maybe. So these convertible bonds, they can convert their debt into equity by trading the bonds for for the shares of common stock. All those investors, maybe they lack confidence initially at the time of investment. Then they opt for this instrument. That is, initially they will give it as a debt which promises them to be repaid, but after assessing the sustainability or the profitability of the business, they may be opting to get, so means converting it into equity later on. So companies can convert these debt financing into equity if their value rises, and they can gain initially from the debt financing. Next is debenture. Debentures are the corporate debt instruments that lack explicit collateral, because they don't have to keep anything as a collateral security, because they are unsecured, and the interest rate and maturity dates of these debentures are usually fixed. So what happens when the debentures are issued? The debenture holders, they receive their interest maybe annually or maybe 6 monthly, as decided in the terms and conditions. And at the time, it is for certain time period. So at the expiry of that time period, the debenture holders, they get back their money. It get mature and they are paid back. Next is commercial paper. The next instrument for debt financing is the commercial papers. Instruments for short-term debts which are issued by credit-worthy firms. They are very short-term debt instruments. So businesses, they employ the commercial papers, which is typically repaid in 270 days, in order to cover their short-term financial needs. So it is of different amount also, and it is for different time period also. Usually, or if the company wants to meet its short-term requirement, they sell off these commercial paper into the market. Next is the term loans. Long-term loans from lenders or financial organizations. That is, term loans can be used for a number of things, such as maybe acquisition, capital projects, and expansion. The loan agreement, it contains the schedule for repayment, that these are the terms and condition for after maybe this term, expiry of this term, the money has to be repaid back and refunded back. Next is equipment financing. Equipment financing it happens at the time when the company or business, they are going to purchase machinery or plant or equipment for their business. So financing which is allocated especially for the acquisition of machinery or equipment, it is being funded frequently and acts as a loan collateral, because whatever machinery equipment is funded, it also acts as a collateral security, and usually the repayment period corresponds with the equipment's anticipated usable life. Maybe installment are fixed depending upon that how long that equipment or machinery is going to remain and utilized into the business, and the installments are fixed accordingly with certain rate of interest also. Next, line of credit. Financial institutions, they can set up the credit line for businesses, enabling them to borrow money up to a set level. That is, a limit has been fixed and you can take up a loan to that money, borrow the money to that level. And businesses, they just pay interest on the amount which is borrowed, and they are free to take out loans as and when it is needed. This actually, lines of credit are decided or set up by the financial institutions. Next, mortgage. These are, this happens in the real estate usually. Real estate's assets, they can be pledged as security by the businessman in order to get a mortgage loan. That is, suppose if it may be taken from bank or from any money lender also. if you want to buy, you want certain amount of money and it is a bulk amount for your business, then maybe you will be asked to mortgage certain physical assets, maybe your land, your building, your other property in the name of this. Papers have to submitted to the banks in return for the loan that you are taking. And these mortgages are usually, they are usually used to finance the purchase or development of the real estate or some business, etc. Then we have the mezzanine financing, that is a hybrid type of funding that blends the aspect of equity and debt. The features including warrants, convertible securities, and subordinate debts, which are examples of mezzanine finance, because mezzanine financing entails more risk than ordinary debt. Investors, they usually demand a bigger return. So they go in for this kind of financing. And the last is the government issued government issued guarantees and loans. That is, sometimes or many a times governments, they provide guarantees or loans to companies for certain particular endeavors or the projects. Particularly maybe those projects which the government wants to be promoted in the economy, in the country, those businesses which needs a boost up in the country and need to multiply to a larger scale. The government helps them through financing them or lending out money to them. So in order to promote, we can say, economic development, the terms can include, promote the economic development. Such activities are followed by the government. The terms can include maybe the subsidies or maybe advantages, interest rate, that is lower interest rate for certain, maybe it also can include some tax holidays or tax provisions also. So businesses, they can benefit, all those who want to develop themselves in that area, they can benefit from the debt financing by keeping ownership and the control to themselves. So it does, however, come with a requirement for, requirement to return the principal amount plus the interest on a regular basis. There are some installments, fixed installments are set up and decided by all the parties, and they are paid back. The decision between the debt and equity financing actually is, we can say here that the decision between the debt and equity financing, it is influenced, or it is, um, by a number of variables, including the money's intended use, the company's financial standing, and risk tolerance. Actually, see, after understanding this comprehensive list of debt and equity financing, we can now say that such a large variety is available. It will depend upon the businessman to choose between, will depend upon what is again his requirement and what is his paying back capacity. Is he ready to share the ownership, or is his scale is large enough, that is, he need a bigger capital base uh, to be issued, to be raise the money through equity financing, or he wants it to be limited and just take loan from the bank or the government, or maybe some of the instruments like commercial papers or debentures or bonds, etc., etc. This will depend upon what is his preference, what is his need and requirement for his business, etc. But for so many time, it has been found that the businesses usually, they use a combination of debt and equity, and that combination is created in a way which is, the best possible capital structure. That is, they try to, because on equity they have to pay dividend, whereas on debt they have to pay interest, which becomes a fixed liability. Equity is not a fixed liability because the dividends are distributed only when and if there is a profit earned by the business, whereas interest has to be paid back whether or not you have earned any profit or not. So that means here the liability is in terms of debt, the liability is fixed and it is always there, whereas in equity it is not like that. So here what combination to be taken, it is decided by the businessman after checking and after doing substantial calculations, maybe using some of the ratio analysis as already learned by you, to have the best possible capital structure in terms of cost which includes the dividend and interest. So the combination must be framed in such a way so that you have to pay out the minimum cost or bear the minimum cost. So just to conclude, that is all about the debt and equity financing. So maybe we can say that entrepreneurial financial concerns, they covered a wide range of factors that are essential to the viability and profitability of the new business. So entrepreneurs, they have a lot of things to consider. Maybe they have to take into consideration the startup capital, assertion how much money is needed to start the business and pay for the things like marketing, product development and operating expenditure, etc., etc. They also have to go for budgeting and forecasting, that is to aid with resource allocation and decision making in order to create realistic financial estimates and budgets. So in order to, they have to plan it this way. Then so many factors that has to be kept in mind, apart from budgeting and forecasting, they have to create really a very realistic financial estimate and also the budgets which are doable, which are attainable in order to, guide the corporate operation. Then there are cash flow management which has to be kept in mind, keep an eye on our income and expenses, make sure that you have enough cash in hand and that account receivable and payable must be optimized. Financial planning, cost management, everything has to be done. Funding options have to be sorted out, because funding options, we have to examine, as already we have studied, there is a host of opportunities available in funding options. So we have to examine them properly and match them to the needs and expansion strategies of the company, because these options will include loan financing, equity financing, government grants and crowdsourcing, etc., etc. So many things, and at the same time we have to go for tax planning and everything. So we see, after studying so many issues in different sessions, we can say that a very comprehensive approach to financial management is necessary for a successful entrepreneurship, including proactive decision making, budgeting, and strategic planning in order to overcome any kind of obstacles and seize the opportunities to the best results. Thank you.